Morning, all. Oh, that's right, Javier. You're in Virginia. And Paul, you usually don't jump on and talk. So good morning to someone who rarely speaks in the chat room. Not that the rest of you aren't important. Don't take it personally. I just get excited when there's a new voice here because let's be honest, sometimes you guys are annoying. I'm kidding. I joke. I'm kidding. At least none of you that are in here now are annoying that I can see.
I'm sure it's how you feel about Miller and Moulton,
but give it time. And no, 30 seconds, Paul.
And how is Williamsburg this morning?
Look at that, Jimmy W. That's a new name too. It's fantastic. I'm very happy this morning. Way to go. You two have made my day.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Friday. Hope you've had a good week. Let's end it together, shall we? How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Boy, can a 7-game series be a dud?
Outside of game one, it really has. Last night, San Antonio jumps out to an early lead. OKC, by halftime, we've got a game. I mean, start of the third quarter, we're in a ball game. It's not anything out of hand.
Right. It's 7.
Right. I mean, it's in the NBA. I mean, to me, David, where's your number where it gets out of hand? Because I even think to me, it's about a dozen. A dozen, a three-pointer makes it inside of 10. We're back to a game, if you know what I mean. So that's kind of my number. When it gets past 12, I start going, this could teeter quickly. And David, in the third quarter, it teetered quickly.
Oh, my goodness. 32-13. This baby's over.
Right.
See ya. Don't have to watch the fourth, which I will say, for a couple of guys who are getting older, for a couple of guys who have been staying up regularly for the hockey and the basketball playoffs, we love it when we can make a definitive decision early. And nope, time to go to bed. No. Don't even consider it. Don't think about it. If it happens, wake up surprised like everybody else. No, it's bedtime. Gotta go. It's a key hour of sleep right here. Gotta go. Boom.
Funny, I should have. I thought about it. I started scrolling, and the next thing I know, I looked up and the game was over. And I'm like, well, now I definitely need to go to bed. OKC's walking down the tunnel, and I'm like, what did you just do? You were given a break here. You were given 40 minutes, and you didn't take them.
No, you didn't, because you also didn't have to take the last 3 minutes of the third quarter either.
Not really.
No.
That's when I started looking. That's when I started feeling, that last media time out of the third probably should have made the move. But I got a good nap yesterday, and with a good nap usually gets me another hour. So, but I've been saying it since, game one was unbelievable. It was a fantastic game. Double OT. Wembanyama has that amazing night. And since then, we've just watched the home team control the serve. I guess not true because OKC got one in San Antonio. But largely, we've had games that aren't close.
No.
And really throughout the third and fourth quarter, not close.
Nope. None of them have been close. We had one terrific game, which may have carried many of you throughout this series. Because the other thing that it did was it was the underdog winning. So now you think this series is going to go longer. There's going to be more hope of the upset. And it's done both. It's just that we've had 5 bad games in a row.
And if you think about it, here we go in these playoffs, and we were close to having the road team in the conference finals between hockey and basketball win all 4. A historic comeback by the Knicks in game 1 against Cleveland was the only reason a home team won the first game of any of these conference championship series. Montreal got it going in Carolina. Obviously, Las Vegas won in Colorado because they never lost in the series. San Antonio won in OKC. And Cleveland had, a 22-point lead over the Knicks with 7:42 left in the game?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was over.
I do that to make David smile this morning. That just gives him a moment where he goes, damn it, we did come back in that game, did we? But only Vegas has won their series since then. They swept Colorado. Since then, Carolina has taken complete control of Montreal. But in the Western Conference Finals, we're going to get a game 7. I hope we get a game. At this point, I don't even care who wins. Give me a competitive game. Because you're going to hear all the pundits today talk about what an amazing series this is in the Western Conference with 2 teams that should dominate for the next decade are going 7 games. It's been lousy. Let me say it to you first. We've had 1 good game and 5 games.
Once again, Miller and Moulton, very scientific, very analytical show.
Yes, games.
Right. There you go. Don't know where that is on the spectrum, the threshold or what have you, but it works for us. So hopefully it works for you. Meanwhile, I could argue the biggest thing involving hockey or basketball yesterday was a tragedy that happened off the court, away from the rink.
Sad day yesterday. A very sad day. Because I don't know where you'd place him in playoff guys, if you know what I mean. Clutch players, big goals. But Claude Lemieux hoisted the cup a couple of times, couple of different places. Was a tremendous playoff player. Probably the player for a decade that I hated more than any other player in the sport. And many years after the hit, the ensuing fights, and all of the things that happened between Colorado and Detroit, Claude Lemieux sat down with Darren McCarty, and they did a great interview. A great interview. And essentially buried the hatchet. And if you're a fan, like I am, of the team that didn't like the guy, and you can't get over it when they did, well, then that's on you. And by all accounts, he was an amazing teammate. He was a really nice guy by all accounts. I know a couple of people that had met him and had a picture taken with him. And game 3, as we've all watched if we've watched the hockey playoffs, Montreal has done this amazingly cool thing where someone lights the torch as they come in. It's been a Montreal hero. Game 3, that guy was Claude Lemieux.
I was going to say, you text me the news, and I was virtually speechless. I think I spit out one word twice and then text you, he just lit the torch Monday night.
And I thought the same thing. And unfortunately, in today's world, my mind then said, I'm guessing I know how this happened. And unfortunately, I was right. Claude Lemieux took his own life.
Now, we've talked about this before. More so me than you. When I got started in this business, and I'm 60, and I did get started literally 40 years ago. I was getting paid 40 years ago next month for the first time in this business while still in college. If somebody killed themselves, it didn't make the news. And it didn't matter who it was. Didn't matter how, did not make the news. You could not talk about it. And then a few years later, late 80s, early 90s, okay, it made the news. You never mentioned cause of death, which of course became a giveaway. But that was kind of the compromise because a few people had died, and it was like, why is this not in our newscast? Well, okay, so then that's the direction we went in. And now we openly talk about it, and we urge people to get help and 1-800 numbers and the whole thing. So go on, Mark.
Well, I was just going to reiterate what Darren McCarty said yesterday. If you're in trouble, seek help. There's somebody out there to talk to. And obviously, with a guy like Claude Lemieux, who played on the edge, was very physical, had, I don't know, umpteen fights in his career and hits, etc. You wonder, your mind has to go, was CTE involved? And I don't know if they'll do an autopsy and if he's going to donate, if his family will donate his brain to be studied for that. But that was what I wondered about right away. Because obviously when we saw him at game 3, David, we knew he was healthy. There was no bad walk. Sometimes guys can hide an illness to a degree. And then you see them and go, was he sick? You knew that he wasn't.
What did I text you? He looked great.
Yes, he did.
You made a couple points earlier, and I know they were tongue-in-cheek, but there's at least one generation, maybe two, that don't know Claude Lemieux. Claude Lemieux was on 4 different Stanley Cup winning teams, and he was not a fourth-line guy on any of them. He was on the 86 Canadiens. They actually had gotten rid of him before they won in 93. But he was on the 95 Devils. He then goes as a free agent. He signs with Colorado. Hence the whole war with Detroit thing started. He was on the 96 Avs that won the Cup. And then the Devils were floundering late in the 2000 regular season. And I remember a Jersey columnist saying, you know what this team could use? It could use Claude Lemieux. And Lou Lamoriello went out like 3 days later and got him. And the Devils won the 2000 Cup. When we come back, we'll tell you where he is on the playoff lists all time. He's so much better than you think he is. And that's even if you have a high opinion of him.
Miller and Moulton on a Friday. Thanks for joining us. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Names there, or I don't know how you want me to say that. Signs, I don't know. No, I won't even think about it until the Stanley Cup and NBA playoffs are over. I'm not gonna. I won't get it before then.
DC, are you watching? Listen, the ratings are good, guys. No one's having a bad ratings.
Yeah, Ryan, that's my choice. Although I will say I've been finding shows mostly on streaming services. Well, completely on streaming services to watch.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. There is so much that went down yesterday in the sports world. So, Mark, forgive me. I don't know if you were planning on spending multiple segments on this. I do just want to get this out there, though, that Claude Lemieux, for those that don't know much about him and are wondering why some of us, Claude Lemieux made 2 evening newscasts last night. Now, I don't know if that's the growing popularity of hockey, okay, or what, but Claude Lemieux was not on an American gold medal winning U.S. hockey team, was he, Mark?
Well, he's not American, so no, he's
there
French Canadian.
Right. And they don't talk much about the 91 or 92 Canada Cup on the evening news in the States. But anyway, Claude Lemieux is 9th all-time in playoff goals.
He has 80, for what it's worth. David, I just want to stop you there on the goals, because not only is he ranked highly on the goals, his rookie season in the NHL, not even really his rookie season, because his first 3 seasons in the league, he played 8 games in 83, 84. The next year, they sent him back down to junior. He came up and played 1 game. And then the next year, he started in the American Hockey League. He played 58 games in the American Hockey League. I don't know if he was called up at the end or if it was a back and forth, but that year, 85, 86, he played 10 regular season games for the Montreal Canadiens. He played 20 playoff games in which he had 10 goals and 6 assists as Montreal won the Stanley Cup.
Well, he was really good in the semifinals against the Rangers, I could tell you that, when I was trying to find out who's this goalie named Waugh and who is this forward named Claude Lemieux. Is he related to? No? Wow. 9th all-time in goals scored in the playoffs. Can I just, some of the guys who he scored more playoff goals than? Ovechkin, Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby. Now, Gordie Howe seems obvious because they played so many fewer playoff games, for most of Gordie's career, blah, blah, blah. But 9th all-time. Those are some of the guys he scored more playoff goals than. And he became the Robert Horry, Mark, of the NHL, where basically if you were a good team, but you wanted to be a very good or great team, you had to go get Claude Lemieux.
Won back-to-back cups with the Devils and Lance in 95 and 96. Had 18 goals between those 2 years. 13 the year the Devils won, and he was the playoff MVP. He won the Conn Smythe Trophy.
And then left.
Right. He got paid. I mean, there is part of
Yeah,
that.
totally.
So Bleacher Report earlier this year, like in January, did the top 50 clutch playoff players in hockey. Now, I would have him ranked higher, but it's tough when it goes way back. They have him 14th. 15th is Henri Richard. He won 11 Stanley Cups.
Right.
That ties Russell, just for the record.
Right.
And right ahead of him is this guy named Ken Dryden. Dryden won 5 as a Montreal Canadian. For what it's worth, those of you that want to know, they have Patrick Roy as the all-time clutch playoff performer. Tough to argue with that. And this is the all-time list. This is Maurice Richard, Jean Bevelot. I mean, come on. This is, this is an elite wing of the Hall of Fame. And he's listed among those players.
Now, he played nearly 3 full seasons worth of playoff games. I mean, that's how many playoff games he played. Because wherever he went, teams won, and they won in the spring.
I mean, so I'll say it again. If you need help, you need to ask.
Please.
I mean, I think, and I have trouble with this maybe more than most people. I really do. It hits close. You got to ask for help. He had a lot of people in his corner, a lot of people, including a family that he ran a business with.
So on a completely different tongue, so firmly planted in cheek, okay, snark, but more comedy than snarky. Steve Sarkisian is the football coach at Texas. He's been really snarky this offseason. It's almost like Steve Sarkisian has played for something and won something as a college coach that I'm forgetting. Mark, you?
No, David, I'm aware because of the snark, and I've read so much of the snark and laughed hysterically at some of the snark, but I've laughed harder when you look at a comment that gets posted on X and the replies are what made me giggle, because he is not one squadoosh.
No, I mean, his replies have been and comments have been very Spurrier-esque. Yeah, minus the 2 national championship games and the 1 win. So the Texas football coach, Steve Sarkisian, he was asked about a week and a half ago about Texas Tech, who obviously is a Big 12 school. They've shown up on the national scene here for about 2 years. And it's all because they got a big money booster. And, if you got the right coach wisely, you can turn things around pretty quickly. Just ask Indiana. So anyway, Sark was asked about Texas Tech. And he says, and I'm quoting, well, we'd probably go undefeated if we played Texas Tech's schedule with our backups. So, Texas Tech scheduled to open with Abilene Christian. Texas is scheduled to open with Texas State. Now, I believe week 2 they host Ohio State. But week 1, both teams are playing cupcakes, scheduled wins. Texas Tech has already made the phone calls to both Abilene Christian and to Texas State saying, how much is the buyout? Let us know, because we'd like to buy you out of that game. And then the Texas Tech head coach has now looked into the camera and said, hell, we'll even go to Austin. I'd love to see how his 2s and 3s do against our 1s. Well,
it's going to be a 2 or a 3 at quarterback for Texas Tech.
Well, it has to be all 2s or 3s.
No, for Texas Tech, David.
No, I know. Well, but that's the thing, though, Mark. Wouldn't you like to see if that kid gets 1 game of eligibility? This is the game.
It's what you're talking about. It's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. It's great that Texas Tech is trying to do this. Texas will not play this game. There's no way.
I just like snark. I just like hey, you do know that these cameras have microphones and these microphones and cameras are on, right? Okay. I mean, if you want to be a blankety blank, we can make that happen. Trust me, all it takes is a checkbook.
And Texas Tech now has one. There is no doubt. A lot happened in the sports world yesterday. We'll get to all of it coming up on the other side. The starting 5 next on Miller and Moulton. Solid show. Dave Laurila, Jim Dunaway, all coming up. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I do want to correct you, and I didn't do it. He never said Texas Tech by name, because I did a segment on this when you were gone. He said, I've got the quote in front of me. He said, there's a team in our state that plays in another conference that has a schedule that I would argue if I played with our 2s and 3s, we could go undefeated. And they'll probably make the CFP this year. That's the quote, for what it's worth. Because he didn't say I could beat Texas Tech with my 2s and 3s. He said I could go undefeated with their schedule. It's just, I literally bookmarked it because when you were gone, I did a segment on it. I think with Trent. I don't remember. It was with Trent or with Seth. But I did love that Texas Tech immediately said, well, let's schedule a game then. I love it. Because that's how you handle that if you're Texas Tech. Because you know he's never going to play you.
Right.
That's a great bet, Mark. I mean, I would say it's a fool and his money, but I love the fact that what you got him at. I mean, now you're laughing at me.
Jay Gunn, who thinks TCU's going to the playoff?
I think that's sarcasm.
Oh, gotcha.
I hope it is. Because if you look at his previous comment, he says they just left the same conference. I don't remember them going undefeated. That's also correct, Jay Gunn. I will say, I think the international texting code for sarcasm is ... LOL. I include that in all my sarcastic texts just to make sure. Really, that's not true. I include that on all my sarcastic texts that are not to David and John. They understand. I got to tell you, one of the things that I really laugh about this pathetic market that I live in, and I've been here a long time. I think I've earned the right to call this Southwest Florida pathetic. News stations did an effing story, and a newspaper did a story on sweet tomatoes returning to Southwest Florida. I couldn't find anything on 4 Michelin-rated restaurants in Southwest Florida on either television news page because it was in the newspapers, and then I forgot I have the Michelin app on my phone and could look them up that way. I was trying to tell my wife I couldn't remember the 4th restaurant. But Sweet Tomatoes opening, let's send a camera crew out there to get the 85-year-olds in line for a flippin' buffet. Good gracious. What's next? Evening news at the Golden Corral?
Hello.
EB, I've never been there, so I can't say something about it badly because I would never go there. It's a salad bar buffet. A Michelin-rated restaurant in the industry is an unbelievably big thing. Buffet that serves salads, yippee! That just shows you where we live. That's all.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
"22 minutes to the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. David Laurila to talk a lot of things baseball. Because a lot of things are going on in baseball, on and off the field. Talk to David.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We've had an offer and we've had a counter offer, David.
Yes, we have.
Game on.
But at least it's game on the final week of May.
Right? I'm with you. No. David, at least it's game on.
Right.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I really do not. We know where each side was starting.
Right. Might as well get there as soon as we can. And they have.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
But David Laura to talk baseball on and off the field. And, well, Jim Dunaway does a great job covering the South. covers Auburn a lot. We'll get Jim Dunaway on the show in about 2 hours.
You know, David, I know you're ready to go here, but I got to tell you, today is National Biscuit Day, and there are a lot of ways you can have a biscuit. You know, you can just put something on it. You can go to Chick-fil-A and get a biscuit, a few other fast food places. But I like to think of this segment, if I were to equate it to biscuits, this is biscuits and gravy, because there's so much information. You've got to then take that biscuit and sop up all the gravy. Just letting you know, that's how highly I think of this next segment.
Well, we may need to rename it Biscuits and Gravy. But for now, it's
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Well, Wemby was really good. And nobody on Oklahoma City was. The Thunder shot 37% for the game, 25% from threes, hit only 10 of them. Meanwhile, the Spurs shot 47% for the game, hit 15 threes, out-rebounded the Thunder by 10, outscored the Thunder by 19 in the third quarter. That's after mustering up a 7-point halftime lead. So when I tell you Wemby at 28 points, 10 rebounds, you could probably come pretty close to guessing the score. It was 118-91. Series tied at 3. Who will play the Knicks in the NBA Finals beginning next Wednesday? We'll find out tomorrow night in Oklahoma City. A Saturday night special. Game 7 out west. NHL Game 5 tonight in Raleigh. And no one thinks there's going to be a Game 6. Not even the board of the Montreal Canadiens. Carolina's won 3 in a row in this series. They've outscored Montreal 10-4. They lead the series 3-1. Game 5, 8 o'clock tonight on TNT. We mentioned it earlier. NHL and the sports world mourning the passing of Claude Lemieux by apparent suicide at the age of 60. Just 3 nights after he was the designated former Canadian to walk out carrying the torch out onto the ice before the game. He won 4 Stanley Cups with 3 different teams. He's 9th on the all-time playoff goal-scoring list. Claude Lemieux, dead at 60. Only 6 games in baseball yesterday and last night. If it's the Braves and it's the deciding game of a series, well, then bet a lot of money on the Braves. Because they've still only lost 1 series as we head into the final weekend of May. They took 2 or 3 from the Red Sox. Acuna grand slam. Sale picks up his 8th win. 10-2 Atlanta over the Red Sox. The Cubs, they win back-to-back against the Pirates. Skeens takes his 3rd straight loss. The Cubs, despite the 10-game losing streak, are 4 back of Milwaukee in 2nd in the division. Toronto and Baltimore, both teams having good weeks. Now they're playing one another to end the week. Well, the good week really continues for Toronto. Bases loaded walk in the 8th. Scratched out the go-ahead run, and they will beat the Orioles 2-1. Toronto just a game below 500. Houston, they took 3 or 4 from Texas. They won 6 of 7. They hit 2 homers in the first inning, scored 3 runs, didn't need any more. Astros over the Rangers 5-1. White Sox scored 4 in the third. Davis Martin with his 6th straight win. Not bad. For the White Sox, who are what? 2 games above 500? Oh, my goodness. Chicago 6-2 over the Twins. And finally, well, the Angels have won 5 of 6. They're still in last. They're still tied for the worst record in the American League. It's just so sad who they're tied with. The Tigers, who have lost 10 of 12.
And just lost a series to the Angels.
That's after getting swept last week by the Mets. So, ouch. Off the field. Remember, the players made an offer to the owners on Wednesday. The owners took a day to respond. They turned around and they said, okay, here's our response. It's a salary cap. To give you an idea how far back in time the owners are going, they haven't made a salary cap offer to the players since 1994. Anybody remember how that worked out? Their minimum payroll would be $171.2 million. 12 of the 30 teams would have to increase their payroll to get to the floor. 12. 8 would have to decrease their payroll. And that's with the top payroll being $245,300,000. The Mets would have to decrease their payroll by around $90 million. Now remember, there's still big money contracts that are on the books next year and years beyond that. And there's no talk from the owners about those contracts being, grandfathered in, say. No, the owners are like, no, you'll have to just cut your payroll elsewhere or trade these guys if you can. 50-50 revenue split. And the owners are saying, well, at least Major League Baseball is saying to the owners, yeah, you all throw your media rights deals in the same pot. We add it up and divide it by 30. Just like the other leagues. Yeah, there's a half dozen teams in the league that are laughing hysterically at that one. So anyway, that's out there. That's where we are. Monday is June 1st, 6 months to the day that the lockout/strike goes into effect. So both sides are out on the record 6 months early. Let's see what they do with it. I mentioned in college football that Texas Tech trying to buy Abilene Christian out of their opener and Texas State out of Texas opener, so that Texas would have to play Texas Tech, but they'd have to play them with their backups because of a snarky comment that Sarkisian made last week. By the way, the Big 12 coaches are on the record as saying they prefer a 2014 playoff. So to review, Big 10 coaches, 24. SEC coaches, 16. Big 12 coaches, 24. ACC coaches, I don't believe have had a formal vote, but the commissioner offered up that our conference would prefer 24, but our media partner has no interest in it. Therefore, how would we get paid? At least they were honest. Golf, Charles Schwab Challenge. That's at the Colonial Country Club, Hogan's Alley in Fort Worth. 6-way tie for the lead at 6 under. 12-way tie for second, 1 back, 13-way tie, 2 back. So that's 31 golfers within 2 shots of the lead. That's a lot. LIVs in Korea, they only got about 5 tournaments left. 3-way tie for the lead at 5 under, including Bryson DeChambeau. Doesn't it look embarrassing for LIV that he performed so badly in the majors and then the very next week performed so well in LIV? Just saying. College World Series baseball gets underway today. Auburn's hosting Milwaukee. Mark, you asked about Ryder the other day and something totally unrelated. They're playing the Gators. St. John's is playing Florida State. UCF's playing NC State. And Miami's playing Troy. The 5 with some local interest for the stations that we're on right now here on Miller and Moulton. And as I look around, Mark, that's pretty much what I got at largely 9 minutes before the hour. That's the starting 5 here on Miller and Moulton. 5 big stories you needed to know.
I do like the College Baseball World Series. I like the regionals. I'll pay a little attention to this. Probably some fun daytime sports watching over the next couple of days. They take forever, but I believe usually the Deuce or you will have essentially a red zone type channel going. I think they call it, the 7th inning or something along those lines, but they kind of hop from game to game. They do it in college softball as well. And it's a good way because we've talked about it, college baseball moves at an incredibly slow pace. But when they put all the games on and give you what matters, that's a lot of fun. Like this week, because unlike college softball, where there really weren't a lot of upsets, baseball usually provides out of the regions a couple. We usually get some teams that are not 1 seeds, like by some teams, like usually out of the 16 sites, there's usually at least 4 that the 1 seed doesn't get out of. And there's always some good 2 seeds, and every once in a while, a 3 seed can surprise. So there is the element of madness in the region round in college baseball. I mean, like David said, Miami and Florida are in the same region. Miami's a perennial power in this sport. They're going to Gainesville for the region. So I don't know how you could say, and Florida's been great over the last decade in baseball, and they're the favorite, obviously, is the one, but you can't say it's a done deal, if you know what I mean. So, and you mentioned June 1st, as far as how many months we are away. June 1st, the big cut day coming on Monday next week in the NFL, when we'll see a lot of players, because of contractual reasons, cut. And also, will A.J. Brown get dealt after June 1st? And where will he get dealt to? Because it had been a foregone conclusion that it was the Patriots. We've made comments in the last few weeks that, don't you think there are other teams that would be interested? I don't know. The Rams, perhaps? So, to me, there's all this talk that the Patriots don't want to pay too much. I get it. But now that it's been out there this long, you have to believe that Philadelphia fields a lot more phone calls on him.
Yeah, unless, Mark, the deal is literally in the drawer.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
No! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, since I'm the one yelling it, I yelled goal, Mark. But if you think it's no, then, like everything else today, I'll have to redo it because apparently everything I'm doing this morning sucks. You guys are wearing on me this morning. I got to be honest. It's one thing to tell me something, and then when I stop the music for you to tell me 60 other times, I got it. Holy crap. Hell of a Friday so far, gang. You guys are really on point. No, yeah, I'm sure I said no, Mark. I sure that I am. I'll redo the commercial later today. Jesus Christ.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton on this Friday. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. So, the baseball players and owners are getting serious, Mark. But are they? Because, the players' offers are laughable to the owners, and the owners' offers laughable to the players. So I'm just curious, does each side just counteroffer from here? And who's the first side to make a serious counteroffer?
Well, I think it's going to have to be the owners. As much as I would like to see a salary cap, and as much as I think fans like a salary cap. See, that's the part of this that I don't think the players understand and seemingly will never understand. We like a cap in all of our other sports. Now, you and I are hockey guys, and I know people don't like hockey as much as the other sports. The one thing people complain about the hard cap in hockey is the Vegases, the Panthers, the Lightning, the Dallas Stars have an unfair advantage because of no state tax. I mean, it's actually openly discussed that do these teams in the sport where the cap's the lowest, is that an unfair advantage? We don't think of those things in basketball because there is a luxury line you can go over and pay a tax on top of. And I think because guys are making $60 million a year, it's not as big of a deal to the basketball player. And for whatever reason, guys want to play for the Knicks that maybe wouldn't play for the Rangers. I don't know. We'll find out when McDavid becomes a free agent, David. No, I mean, seriously, because, the markets where McDavid would be most marketable are two very high tax places, whether it's Toronto or New York.
Right. Or Chicago even.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think, but I think the two biggest, if you're a hockey player,
I agree.
Chicago's not on that list. It's the Rangers or it's the Maple Leafs. And if he ends up signing with the Florida Panthers or Tampa Bay or the Dallas Stars or Vegas, you'd be like, wow, maybe it is something. But football works because of the cap. Everybody seems to be given the same chance. I mean, we watched the turnaround quickly of the Patriots. We've watched the turnaround in a couple of years from cap hell that the Broncos have done. I mean, think about what they've accomplished since being in total cap jail. You wonder even the Saints, who have been in cap jail for seemingly most of this decade. They won a bunch of games at the end of the year. People think they have a shot in that division. So everybody seemingly can turn it around, and it doesn't matter of your market. Now, the owners in baseball are going to look at the Milwaukee Brewers and say, the players are going to look at the Milwaukee Brewers and maybe the Tampa Bay Rays. But the owners of the Big Seven clubs, do they actually want a cap? Because to me, David, it's going to take Hal Steinbrenner or the Dodgers owners or your guy with the Mets there, Cohen, to come out and say this sport needs a cap. And I've not heard that from the top end owners. I've heard it from Rob Manfred.
Remember, when the owners made their counter proposal yesterday, they had a floor and a ceiling, obviously. The floor is 171.2. Now, the only thing I want to say about the floor right now is the Marlins would have to increase their payroll by more money than the Mets and Dodgers would have to decrease their payroll to get underneath the ceiling.
So would Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's only spending $2 million more than the Marlins are right now.
Right.
So this isn't, I just want to bring that up, David, because everybody quickly points to the Marlins, and rightly so. There are a bunch of other teams that are incredibly cheap and teams that actually do well at the gate. St. Louis, $94 million. They're 25th on the list out of 30.
Now you can see different lists with different numbers because technically the offer that the owners made yesterday also includes like players' benefits. And so there's a dollar value associated with that with every single player. And so some lists include it, some lists don't. But the owners are being hardline. Okay, that this is our counter proposal. And oh, by the way, that includes benefits. That includes, meals. That includes everything else that you get from us. Okay, that's all part of the deal. Now, I would like to think at the end of the day, if that's where we were to get rid of a deal, that the owners would cave on that one. But anyway.
What the number's 170, you said, David?
171.2.
So right now, that's dead in the middle. There are 15 teams that I have spending more than that. 15th on the list are the Angels at just barely. They're at 172 and change. Baltimore, Seattle, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Colorado, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, St. Louis, the Athletics, Washington, White Sox, Guardians, Marlins are the teams that are all below the cap. Baltimore and Seattle, not much, 167, 163. But those are the teams that are currently below.
And just to give you an idea, I have a different list in front of me, okay, which, it got different figures. And goodness knows these guys are going to argue over which lists, okay, they're going to use. But 12 would have to increase payroll. 8 would have to decrease payroll. That leaves 10 teams in the middle of 171 and change and 245 and change. Okay. All right. Does that mean the average payroll team in Mark is Seattle? It's Cincinnati, Kansas City? Because that's the other thing, that there's also like a $35 to $40 million gap there between like team 17 and team 18.
Right. Yeah. I don't, you can use your list, but
Right.
It doesn't matter to me, but I just happen to name teams. So
Right.
because of that, you've got Seattle at 163, basically, and Kansas City at 147. That's 17 to 18 on my list.
Okay.
But I think if we were to quickly do the math and add up all of the teams that have to get to the floor, I think that number, and I can do it during the break, I think that number would be far more than the 6 teams that I have that are currently spending over $245 million.
Well, because the list I have has 10 teams at it. The Tigers are at 244 and change. They're 10th. The Cubs are about 4 million more than that. So, are they just above it, just below it? Let's take the Cubs out of it. Let's take the Tigers out of it. Let's just say, Mark, they're below 245.3. And there are 8 teams above it. Remember, we've talked about it, Mark. It's owners' math. If 8 owners stay together as a block, as a group, Manfred can't get anything done on his side. You tell me which one of these owners, these ball clubs, that you think is willing to move more towards the floor and vote against the Dodgers and the Mets. Dodgers and the Mets are the top 2. Yankees?
I think that they're a definite maybe. They were never a maybe before, but this Steinbrenner's different.
He is. He'd have to drop 70 to 90 million, depending on the payroll you look at. And I don't know if his fans would let him. I'm with you, Mark. I think the Steinbrenner wants to. I think his fan base would go crazy.
I agree with both of those. I do.
The Phillies.
I don't know enough about their owners to give an honest opinion there, David. I would think that that's a 50-50 shot.
Okay. The list I have them at, they're about 70 million over payroll. Other list has them 50 million. Toronto. Isn't that the people who own the Leafs?
I think they would. That's a corporation. I don't think that, I think they're spending because they feel they have to. I think they'd gladly go under.
Boy, he came really close to winning that World Series last year when they had to spend a little bit of money, huh? Damn, that really worked out poorly. The Red Sox.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, this is where I wish we'd have, that's my fault. I should have found out what list you have because I don't have them anywhere close to the top on the two lists that I've looked at. I have them under 200 million right now. So I don't, but do I think they would vote to get under it? Yes, I think this group would.
The Padres, who just completed a sale for a staggering amount of money, almost $4 billion. By $1.5 billion, it's the most money a Major League Baseball team has ever sold for. Do we think they would side with the Dodgers and the Mets, or would they side with the Reds?
I think they want to get some of their money back, David. I think they'd side with the Reds.
Well, then first glance at the big boys, so to speak, in spending, and Manfred's going to get his number.
Like Detroit, you have them over the list. I have them under it. Detroit, there's no way they'd vote against having a salary cap. They'd want it in a heartbeat. Illich doesn't want to spend money. This ain't his old man.
So maybe Manfred's got the votes. Maybe instead of it being closer to 8, it's closer to 4. And if that's the case, and if Manfred can actually get a deal done with his group, and the people that are unhappy are the Mets and the Dodgers, well, then the players may be in for a very different negotiation.
Well, the only other side of this, David, that you got to take into account is would the bottom teams be willing to get to that floor? Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating
The
needs.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, Tim, that would be the same as in football when you've got the 16 guys that are eligible to come off the practice squad. And when they do, they count 3 times as much. And so it's the same way.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. David Laurila covers baseball for a living. We'll talk to him coming up at the top of the hour. Jim Dunaway covers college sports for a living with an emphasis on the South. Oh, let's face it. The North may be winning, but the South is more interesting, even when they lose. I mean, come on. Got to acknowledge that. Okay, Jim Dunaway. He'll join us in a little over an hour.
Well, David, you're right. The South is more interesting because the coaches jump into the fray. And this is a team that usually isn't interesting. In fact, I don't even know if this team's interesting with this story. But there are some schools still in college sports that have their players playing multiple sports. And who knew that playing multiple sports could lead to gaming the transfer portal?
Oh, I'm sure none of those schools, Mark, who have athletes playing multiple sports knew that they could somehow turn that to their advantage.
No, actually, their disadvantage. I'm talking about Carson Gordon. He's a quarterback for UCLA. He also is a triple jumper on the UCLA track team. You see, he didn't transfer during the portal for football. But because the transfer portal window is open for track and field, he has now put his name out there to transfer, and he fully intends on playing football in the fall. Now, I don't know where this guy was on the UCLA depth chart. My guess is he probably isn't going to be the starting quarterback, or he wouldn't be transferring. But I immediately thought of one school. You know, Texas Tech. They're going to need a quarterback. And you and I wondered out loud, how do you get a quarterback at this time? And I have no idea how many football teams out there have players that are running track or playing baseball or whatever the hell it may be. I mean, there have been some really good two-sport athletes throughout the history of college football. Dion, Bo, there's been Charlie Ward. I mean, there have been a bunch of guys who were good at multiple sports. But the redshirt sophomore quarterback / receiver, Carson Gordon, is apparently really good at the triple jump. And he found his two-sport loophole to enter the portal as a track athlete.
I like it.
Now, David, you may be right that another school may have figured this out and searched all the two-sport athletes and said, you can transfer. Now, I've not heard enough of Carson Gordon to know that he's going to be any good at anything he does. But I did find it amazing when I saw the story yesterday that there's a loophole for two-sport athletes. And you know what? I don't think the NCAA can do a damn thing about it.
Don't see how they can. Nobody's breaking any rules here, are they?
Nope. And obviously, I would think he's a dual threat quarterback given the fact that he runs track. That's just me. So he was a 3-star. By the way, you'll never guess what state this young man's from. Texas.
Huh.
So just something to pay attention to in the coming weeks as you're, getting ready to maybe go on a summer vacation, maybe downloading our podcast or another one to get ready for college football. But yes, a two-sport athlete who is going to play football in the fall is transferring out of UCLA, entering the portal as a track athlete. One of the fastest quarterbacks in the country. Ran a 4.28 for what it's worth.
To me, the only way you could come down on this if you wanted to is, to me, you'd have to ask the question, okay, of the two sports that this athlete intends to participate in, which one is first? There's an agreement, Mark. July 1st to June 30th is actually the school year. July 1st to June 30th. Football is a fall sport. Track is often a winter sport at a lot of places because it's indoor. Other places, it could be a spring sport. So if you wanted to crack down on it, could you in fact say that whichever sport you are transferring or playing first, then that's the sport that you're transferring in?
I think this is where I actually, you spent yesterday at least a segment we talked about the bipartisan bill that they're trying to pass, or at least get up to be voted on for collegiate sports.
Right.
This is where the 5 years of eligibility to me is everything. You got 5 years, man. I don't get, and you get one transfer. Now, this guy, I quickly checked. He's not really on the depth chart as a quarterback. I mean, they've got, I want to leave there.
Oh, yeah.
And his brother.
The former Tennessee quarterback.
Yeah, and his brother. It was kind of a, 2 for 1 there.
Right.
I mean,
I
that's
am
what
believing.
Right.
Right.
So he's not even in the top 3 as far as I can see on depth chart. And they do have him listed as a receiver as well, where I don't see him on the depth chart there as well. But again, I just find it fascinating that if there's a loophole, the athlete's going to find it, because the NCAA seems to open loopholes everywhere.
And for now, what we know the court system is in favor of is whatever is in the best interest of the athlete, financially or otherwise. That's the way the courts have ruled here for a long time.
And if the courts don't rule in favor of the athlete, the school and athlete just finds a venue where they will. I mean, that, whether it's Ole Miss, whether it's Texas Tech, I was stunned when that judge recused himself from that case. I really was.
I was too. I thought that might cost him his career more than if he had stayed on.
So,
I mean, yeah, we fixed the, in some cases it's the jury pool. In other cases, it's the bench pool. Yeah, that's called college sports in the 2020s. What are you doing leaving? We put you there for a reason. We knew where you got your undergrad. We knew where you were born and raised. We know where you eat on Thursdays. What are you doing?
and, a lot of they can find a judge in most places that's an alumni of their university. Graduate, undergraduate, whatever the case may be. Got to have the judges. I mean, if Don Corleone taught us anything, you got to have those politicians and judges. Miller and Moulton. Text line is open. The Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000 is the number. If you've not texted the show before, the key word is Miller. Pelican Roofing of Florida, residential and commercial, 1-866-9-PELICAN.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. It's from David Laurel over in Georgia. He's with Fangraphs.com. We'll talk a lot of baseball on and off the field. A lot of interesting things involving that sport this year. Should we draw conclusions by the first 55 or 60 games of this year? And if so, what conclusions are you going to draw? Never mind what's going on off the field and what could go on off the field. And Mark, if you had $20 right now, who do you think is going to win? Players or owners?
Owners. I always vote on the owners when it comes to this because I think obviously their pockets are deeper. They can hold out longer. And we've talked about this for damn near as long as you and I have done a show, while none of us are the man for the most part. I mean, there are a few people that listen to this show that obviously do very well for themselves and own their own business. And those of you that own your own business, it's time now for me to say, send sponsor to 21,000 for your chance to be a part of the Miller and Moulton radio show. I felt that I needed to do it in that voice because I've done it enough. But
And we need you.
yes, desperately. But when it comes to this, because our loyalty is with the team, not with the league. And that's really what it boils down to. And I don't know if we've ever really taken that approach because we've always said that we side with the man. And we don't really side with the man. We side with our favorite team. You're a Mets fan. I'm a Tigers fan. The rest of you are fans of whatever teams you're fans of. But if you're a baseball fan, you want your team to play. That's all. You want the Guardians to play, the Blue Jays, whatever the case may be. And this is a very easy argument. One side wants a salary cap. The other side doesn't. And I mean, it's Charlton Heston with the NRA line. From my cold, dead hands. I mean, that's where the players are and where they always have been.
Yep.
I mean, what was it? Bryce Harper told Manfred, if you're going to mention cap, I mean, that didn't come to blows, but it got ugly inside the clubhouse. Get out of here. It's the commissioner of the league.
Right.
Get your ass out of my clubhouse if you're going to say the word salary cap. So it's not like there's a gray area here.
No.
Whatever team, whatever side you want to put the white hat on or the black hat, but there is clearly two distinct sides, and they are miles apart.
Now, it is worth noting that, I mean, there hasn't been a salary cap ever in this sport. So in that sense, you could argue, so if the players won every negotiation? Well, they did up until about 1998. And then even folks that are pretty big on the players' union side will argue that, yeah, there may not be a cap in this sport, but the owners are getting a lot more of what they want than the players are getting what they want when we do these negotiations for the last 30 years.
But, David, you don't have to really even look that hard. And, you had said, can they just get the owners that they need on the top end of the cap? Let me throw it to the other way. Marlins going to vote for a floor? Cleveland going to vote for a floor? Are the White Sox going to vote for a floor? The Athletics? The Nats? The Pirates?
So are you saying this could be like one of those unlikely political, alliances where you look and it's the, Black Caucus okay, along with, and then pick what you think is the opposite side of the political spectrum.
Oh, I don't know, mega Republicans. I mean, I don't want to go, but yes, David. I mean, look at Cincinnati. They're notoriously cheap. They going to vote for a floor?
Well, upon first view, you would think no, but remember, if Manfred gets what he wants, he also gets all the media rights money thrown in the same pile and then divvied up equally.
Which, by the way, probably makes the Braves a no. Because what have the Braves done this year? We thought, were going to go with Manfred's plan and give their media rights to the league. The Braves said, you know what? We're going to try our own channel. And you know what's worked for the Braves? Their own channel. It's doing well. They're making money.
Is this where, not to get too technical, but is this where Jerry Jones changed the NFL's business model, that the Dodgers are going to say to Manfred, dude, you could never get us to give you our local TV money and throw it in a pot and share it with everybody else. That ain't going to happen. But maybe there's a way we can come up with where some of the money that we're saving just for ourselves now gets shared. Because everything got shared back in the day in the NFL. And Jerry Jones took over in the late 80s, and Jerry Jones said, well, not only am I not interested in sharing my soda revenue with the Cleveland Browns, I'm not even interested in the same soda that you guys do business with. In fact, I'm going to do business with all the other people who can't get into this league. And he won. And he got to keep all that money. And so that's now the difference. Are they sharing the media money evenly? Yes. Are they sharing suites and stadium revenue evenly? Hell, I'm just wondering, Mark, is there a Jerry Jones amongst the NFL owners that can find a way to split the cake?
Well, this is where I don't know if you could pull this off, because when I say international money, let me just say it outside of North America. Because with Toronto in the league, I don't want to make people think that I'm not including them. But maybe, the Dodgers, Mets, and Yankees, the three big spenders, they get a lot of money from the Japanese market. And I think from South America too. But, the Dodgers get a huge because of Ohtani. But if you watch a Yankees game, they get their fair share of Asian money. Maybe that's the loophole that they get to keep. But there's got to be something that the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, that they're going to get that others aren't. Because they're the teams that, and I know the Mets suck, but the Mets do, with their stars in that market, make more money than other teams.
Right. And they always will. Unless there's another Ohtani that comes around and he signs, with the Milwaukee Brewers.
But maybe that's it. Would the White Sox then agree? Because they just signed a stud from Japan who's playing really well for them. I don't know. Is that the loophole that you're looking for, David?
That's interesting. It's interesting. We throw all the media in the same pot, but the deals that you're striking in Japan with those companies, you get to keep them.
So I don't know, but there's got to be something for the top end because just giving up the tax money is a lot, but that's not going to be enough to turn them around. Not in my opinion. So that might be an angle, but again, David, even if the owners can figure out what Manfred wants, this is a non-starter with the players. How do you turn it from a non-starter into a starter? I don't know.
Okay, one of them is, so I think it was in the players' first proposal that they proposed making the rookie salary $1.5 million, which I think is almost double what it is now. See, this is where, if you're the owners, you got to go. First off, you got to make them free agents a year sooner. And you got to raise the minimum salary significantly.
All right. Let me just play. If I'm a player, why do I care what rookies make? I'm already in the league. I'm not being a jerk here. The rookies don't matter to me. I want to make sure I get mine. This is the PGA Tour, if you know what I mean. Top guys want theirs. They don't give a damn about the guy coming off the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah, but not everybody who votes is eligible for free agency. In fact, at this rate, most of the players voting are not eligible for free agency.
Your free agency point, I agree with you totally on, David. I'm not talking about the free. You just said the rookie salary. I would move that down if I'm the players. That's something I'd give the owners. I don't give a damn about the rookies. Let me be a free agent a year earlier. That's more important to me. I'm in the league.
Well, if you do that as the players, though, you're going to lose the young guys. They're going to agree with the owners and the salary cap. That's why I think the players are trying to nip wherever their division is going to come from. It's going to come from the first and second year guys, who the owners are saying, keep doing it the players' way, and it's costing you millions of dollars. Do it our way. You'll make more money. You'll become a free agent sooner.
Again, I'm with you on the free agency. The rookie thing, the guy, even if he's a first-year player, he's already in the league. I'm not, as a player, wanting to benefit guys that are not yet in the league. That's all.
Okay. But you mean to tell me, let's just say you're a rookie, you're making $800,000. Okay. Your side's proposal is proposing you make 1.5. My side is proposing you make 2.25. Whose side are you on?
Well, they're going to want to make more money, David. I guess, but I don't know how many guys make the minimum. You're right. It's the young guys. That's where the division is. But the union seems to have the young guys already on. I mean, they have brainwashed every player in that league to be on their side. I don't think it's just the young players. I think they have to go after entire teams. I think they need to be going after the entire Marlins team, the entire Guardians team, the entire Colorado Rocky team, the entire Rays team, and say, you're all getting raises if we go to 170. That's, from the standpoint of the Rays are spending, whether it's 87 or with the tax 108, I mean, that's 62 million. There's 25 guys on a roster. That's 2 million plus more a guy.
Right. I agree with you. They should be meeting with the Rays or getting the word out going, it's $2.5 million a player. Overnight. Just so you know.
So that would be my approach. If I were the league, I would be working teams. Yeah, you're not going to win over the Dodgers. You're not. Their players, I mean, hell, they're all going to have to take pay cuts. So I would be working on teams. I would be working on that bottom end, showing, hey, if we get this up to 170, the league, there's more of you under 170 than above it. There are 17 teams under the number. So that's where I would start. But you are still trying to break. At some point, you're trying to break the biggest and most powerful union in sports.
Correct.
That's not going to be easy.
No. Oh, no. Oh, no. And like you said, they will go down like Charlton Heston, okay, with the rifle in front of the NRA meeting. Oh, yeah, that'll be Bryce Harper. Don't kid yourself.
So a lot ahead. And we're cautiously optimistic given the fact that there have been proposals already put out from both sides and the fact that they've done it before June 1. That's a good thing. But you'd be kidding yourself if you actually thought that they were close. Miller and Moulton, more baseball talk. David Laurila, he's next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Go! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Well, Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.
You got us, David?
Yep, I can hear you.
Perfect.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We're halfway home with this show in many a place. It's also final hour of Miller and Moulton in many a place. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Jim Dunaway. He'll join us in about 35 minutes' time. We'll talk a little college football. David Laurila is kind enough to join us now. He's a baseball writer, works with Fangraphs. You can follow David on X at David Laurila QA. That's David Laurila, LaurilaQA. David, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this again. How are you?
Morning, guys. I'm doing well. Probably could have used a little more sleep than I got last night, but that's sort of the business of a baseball writer. You stay up later than you should, and alarm goes off in the morning, and you groan a little bit. So, and then drink coffee, right?
Wouldn't be anywhere without it, David. Trust me, it's the first thing I do when I get up a little after 5 in the morning. I can make it in the dark. I have it down so much. Hey, this has been a very peculiar year. Obviously, I'll let you start anywhere you want in the American League. You know, we love where we are, the Rays, and what they've accomplished. But obviously, there's a good, bad, and ugly to what's going on in the American League. What has surprised you the most thus far in the AL?
Oh, man. I mean, it's so much. I was actually on Toronto Sports Radio a few days ago, and I was asked a similar question. And I said, man, you've got to ask me to explain what's going on in Major League Baseball this year. It's impossible. I mean, it's crazy. You know, when we gave our preseason predictions at Fangraphs, and I hate predictions because you don't know who's going to get hurt. You don't know who's going to have career years, the opposite, et cetera, et cetera. I took the Detroit Tigers to win the World Series this year. You know, they're in last place. Things look desperate. The Red Sox, you know, I'm in Boston. I expected them to win the East. They're in last place. And those teams, I guess those are the biggest surprises, and there are injuries are part of it, but they're like impossibly bad relative to what they should be. And not just my opinion, just, you know, national perspective and just projections. So yeah, it's really weird. Teams that are supposed to be good are not good. You know, on the opposite, you know, real quick, Tampa and Cleveland are in first place. They're sneaky good every year. People always say, they're not that good. And they are. So they are unsurprising surprises maybe in first place.
I don't know if it was last year or if it was the year before, but you came on this show and you made one of those predictions. You said, listen, I've gone through the numbers all sorts of different ways. There's no way the Braves are going their over-under number of like 87.5. And we laughed at you, and you laughed at us all year. I'm just curious, who's the team based on what they've done in the past that's underachieving the most, not based on injury? But, you know, like the point was made, I'm a Mets fan. The Mets just had everybody who normally hits 270. They're all hitting between 190 and 220 this year. You know, are they ever going to hit 270 for this season? I don't know if we'll find out. I'm just curious, who's the team you look at in which you're like, could you guys start performing the way you always perform, please?
Had you not mentioned the Mets, I'm pretty certain that I would have said the Mets. because they are another team that I think I predicted was going to win their division this year. Atlanta surprises me a lot in that they have a lot of talent, but I know they had some pitching injuries and some questions coming into this year. I just saw them for 3 games at Fenway, and outside of a clunker in the middle game of the series, which, that happens to any team, they're very good. But the Mets, I don't really get it. I don't really watch the Mets much. I watch a lot more American League Baseball. But it's the Mets are certainly underachieving, which is, I'm sure, on the back pages of New York newspapers every day.
All right. One more team that's surprised because they've been awful now forever. The Chicago White Sox. They're 2 games above 500. They had a rookie starter give up a home run and then get 18 straight outs last night. I mean, they are a really pleasant surprise. This is kind of like, to me, in basketball, the 76ers had the process and they tanked and built some draft picks and never really got to where they wanted to be. I don't know if there was a process in Chicago, but how far ahead of schedule are they in your estimation, if at all?
Well, I mean, they're ahead of process. They're a weird team too. I think it's great for baseball that a team in a market like that is a pleasant surprise. I don't know if the record is as good as the Cubs now. The Cubs, obviously had the losing streak. The question now, though, of course, becomes, will the White Sox finish above 500? Will they keep playing as well as they have? I'm inclined to say no, because teams tend to be streaky, to a certain degree, that you'll over or underperform. For instance, the Mets, Red Sox, Tigers, we just talked about, they're probably going to start doing better than they have, because they have more talent than they're showing. And a team like the White Sox is probably the opposite. I don't expect them to finish over 500, but I think it's kind of cool that they are. The same with the Washington Nationals, actually, they're over 500. I don't think they have enough talent to keep that up.
David Laurila, fangraphs.com. You can follow David Laurila on X, David Laurila. Okay, GP, David Laurila, GP. Make sure I have it in front of me. No, I'm sorry. I had that wrong. 2A. I don't know. I've got GP chat in front of me. I apologize, David. All right.
Quite all right, guys.
All right. We mentioned the Braves. They're playing better than we all thought. Are the Phillies now close to the mean? Where are the Phillies in all this? They've had the managerial change. They got the 3-week honeymoon. Okay, now what?
Well, the Phillies are they're similar to the Braves in that they went into the year with some pitching injury questions. They're starting to turn it around, and they're a good team. They are, to me, a legitimate World Series contender, because when they're healthy, they're a great team. Schwarber looks like he's going to hit 50 home runs again this year. Harper is Harper, and their pitching is, pretty good. No, the Philadelphia Phillies could very well be playing deep into October.
All right. Let's switch gears from teams playing now to what's happened in the last week. Players made a proposal. Owners made a counter, if you will. The obvious thing is the salary cap. The players, it's the kiss of death. The owners want it. Look, we're a long way from a lockout, a strike, whatever the case may be. We were encouraged by the fact that they're talking now. Should we be?
Probably not. I mean, they're talking now, but they're talking past each other. And I think that there is a lot of posturing now I don't know, art of the deal, right? You talk strong and then you back off. But I don't know how much backing off there will be. The players are not going to accept a salary cap, I'm pretty certain. I personally don't think there should be a salary cap. I do think there should be a salary floor. And so I think the question is, will the sides agree to, as part of the larger package, would they agree to a salary floor if there's not an actual salary cap? Maybe more penalties to teams that sign players over a certain amount, because maybe that won't be as injurious to potential earnings for superstars. So I would say something in that ilk is, I'm at least hopeful can happen.
Do you think Manfred can get his side in order so that the owner's front is at least united while negotiating with the players? Because he's now on record here. He's got a floor. Well, there's a lot of teams that aren't even close to the floor, and we don't even know if current owners of those teams would remain the owners of those teams if this floor went into effect. And there's a lot of other things going on here. He proposed all the revenue be equal and shared. Do you think Manfred can get the owners together the way the players seemingly are always together?
Well, I think what you're doing is you're asking, can you herd cats? Some cats are more herdable. More cats are herdable than others. I don't know that I respect Rob Manfred. I don't know that I fully trust him. He is ultimately a mouthpiece for the owners, who I guess are a bunch of, different striped cats. I definitely do not trust a lot of the owners because, deep in their hearts, most of them are businessmen who care about their bottom lines and not the good of the game of baseball. Exactly what that breakdown would be of the 30 owners, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think enough owners have the good of the game of baseball as their priority. And the game is in a great place now.
Yes, it is.
The game of baseball is probably in as good of a place as it's been in decades. And I don't know, it was the No World Series. Was that 94, I think?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get something like that happening again, or lose several months of next season, you're unnecessarily going in a bad direction, it would be horrible for the game. So, this whole thing is a difficult conversation for anybody to have.
You're right.
Because we love the game. And while some people think, yes, there's an easy answer to how this should happen, that's a bunch of crap. There's not an easy answer because there's a lot of money involved and a lot of love of a game.
David, unfortunately, we're up against it. David Laurila here on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239 566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Enzo, it's out of reach. I think everybody could just pick the Dodgers for the World Series. So the guy made a pick out of reach. They were in the last game of the divisional series to get to the ALCS. They, on paper, actually improved their club in the offseason with the new starting pitcher and picked up a couple of players. So dumb, a reach, yes. Dumb for a team that had a 60% chance to make the playoffs before the season started. I don't know. I don't know. I think that I think you attacked a guest who's kind enough to come on our show who knows his stuff. I would say knows baseball better than you. That would just be my guess since it's his job. But for you to tell, David and I that are the guy we're interviewing is dumb, I think that's a little brash, to say the very least. Playing better lately. Leftwicks, they're playing much better lately. And obviously, that is still a very winnable division. I will say my biggest thing is I spend a lot of time, because I don't sit there and watch every night, and I look at box scores every morning. But their run differential's awful, Leftwicks. They're minus 37. So, they got off to a bad start. They're in a god-awful division. So, it takes 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they could be winning that division. I do think the Mariners are the best team in the division. I thought that a week ago. They're now in first place. I've said for a while when we went through, the Memorial Day stuff, I would take money and bet on the Mariners right now. I think the Rangers have a better roster than the Astros, too, Leftwicks. That would be my, in that division. But I think they both have better rosters than the Athletics. Although the A's, there were a lot of people when I did my preseason stuff and, read through everything. There were a lot of people that thought the Athletics had the ability to score the most runs in the American League. Like they thought that their hitting was good enough to produce a lot of runs. And they really haven't so far. That's what's Leftwicks. I don't even know. I got to be honest. I have enough problems doing the show every day to break down who's hurt on the Astros roster. I'm sorry. That's my own guilt. I'm focused on NBA and NHL playoffs, and I'm reading box scores. I'm not paying attention to who's on the IL. I'm really not. You tell me. You obviously are an Astros fan. That's your team. You know way more about them than I do. Trust me. We spend, during the course of a baseball season, if we spend 30 seconds talking about the Houston Astros, that would be a lot. If they make the playoffs, then we would talk about them more. But between now and, I don't know, September 15th, outside of mentioning their scores in the starting five, I don't know if we'll bring the Astros up on this show. We are in Florida. The fan bases that we have down here are Brewers, Twins, Chicago teams, New York teams, Boston, Detroit, Cleveland. No one around here gives a damn about the Houston Astros. So if that's on me, I will take full responsibility for not being as up to date on the Astros as you think I should be. That I will take full responsibility for. But I really don't care about the Astros right now. It's a division that we don't spend any time talking about. If the Dodgers wouldn't have done what they've done with their spending, we hardly spent any time talking about that division. It's you want to call it East Coast bias? Guilty.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Jim Dunaway will join us in a little more than 15 minutes to talk college hoop. College hoop. What am I talking about? College football. Man, having a rough third hour today. Forgetting people's signals on X and what it is they do for a living. I mean, what is going on?
I'm not going to pile on. I'll just let it be at that.
Feel free. I mean,
because it was Ryan Spader that said the Braves, not David Laurila.
Oh, it was
Spader.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just you said yes, so I'm like, wrong guy, David, wrong guy. But that's all right.
Well, at least
it made him sound good. It made him sound good. Of course he's not going to chime in. Made him sound like he knew what he was talking about.
Right.
After he admitted that he picked the Tigers to win the World Series.
Right. And the Mets to win the East.
But, I mean, everybody picked the Tigers to win their division. They were, I think, like the 7th pick to win the World Series, 7th or 8th, from what I could see on a couple of the sites I looked at. But neither here nor there. We're very early. But as we've pointed out, Memorial Day is a pretty good guide. Even last year, 2/3 of the teams that were in the playoffs on Memorial Day made the playoffs. I don't think the Athletics who were there are going to. I liked the Mariners then. I like the Mariners now. I like Texas more than I like the Athletics or the Astros right now. But we'll see what happens there. I think the Blue Jays have started to figure things out. That's a lot of money, a pretty good roster. They got the young pitcher back who missed the first 4 or 5 weeks, and Yusevich has pitched well since getting back with the big club, so that will help them out. But it's such a crapshoot right now, particularly, both sides, but particularly the American League. Give your team, have 2 good weeks. Go throw a 10-4, 11-3, 2 weeks out there. Or I guess, you probably have 1 day off. So a 10-3, 9-4, 2 weeks. It's amazing how things will change that quickly. That's really all it takes right now in the American League. 2 good weeks, and you're right back in it.
I agree, Mark. You go 4-2 1 week, 5-2 the next. Just 9-4, and let's see where you are.
For most teams, they would go from being out of the playoffs to being a wild card team. I mean, that's really what will happen. And can a team sustain that for a while? Can a team play, 700 baseball for a month, David? That's and then all of a sudden we'll have a clear line of demarcation in the American League if someone can do that. So far, outside of the Guardians, who aren't even really close to that, but they've played really well of late, the Yankees and the Rays, no one's done that in the American League. Obviously, the Braves, the Padres, the Dodgers have all been impressive thus far, and the Brewers as well. But, all of a sudden, and the Padres have slipped here enough that the Diamondbacks with their run have caught them in the West. The Phillies, they're now a couple games over 500, and we're starting to go, all right, they look like a playoff team again. Division, probably not, but they're going to get a wild card. So it's starting to, I think, work itself out, David.
Well, your point. The Houston Astros have won 6 of 7. Before that, the Houston Astros had second worst record in the American League. I think they were ahead of only the Angels. in their division. Yeah. Now, on the 1 cent mark, what are they, about 7 games below 500? 6. Yeah. They're 2.5 games out of first. But also, they're 6 games below 500. Look at the American League. I mean, when we look at teams, it's like earlier in the week, we had a baseball guest on, and I said to him, "Are we sure that we're done on the Jays and the Orioles?" And he went, "Hell no. They're one good week away from being 500. And in the American League right now, how many wins do we think it's going to take to be the 6th seed? If I were to give you 83 right now, you're one of these meandering teams, and I will just tell you, you're going to finish 83 and 59. Yes or no? Are you making the playoffs?
When you asked me this a week ago, I said one more game. I said 84. So it's right there, David. It's right there. 84, 78, I think gets you the last spot. I do. Because I do think someone else out, you've got the Yankees and Rays that look as if they're both playoff teams right now. They could go, if the Rays are kind of skidding here, they've lost 4 in a row. They got to figure some things out. They could just as easily as they played well. Would it shock anyone if they all of a sudden, had a 12-game stretch where they were 2-10? I don't think anybody would be overly shocked by that. But right now, it looks like the Yankees and Rays are playoff teams. And obviously, the AL Central, the Guardians have a little lead on the White Sox. But the White Sox are the next best team in the American League. They're 2 games above 500. So everybody else in the league is under 500. So, 84, maybe it gets to 86, but I think that's asking a lot because no one's been able to sustain really good play for any length of time, and we've played a third of the season. So I do think there'll be a 5th team, if you will, whether it's the Jays, whether it's the Orioles, whether it's, a team in the AL West. I think that there'll be a 5th team that'll start playing better baseball. But what you're asking is what that 6th seed is. I think 84 can get it done.
I think 83 can get it done. Meanwhile, what's that number in the National League? National League 2 years ago had a 3-way tie for the final 2 playoff spots. All 3 teams had 89 wins. Braves, Mets, Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks lost the tiebreaker. 89 didn't get everybody in the National League 2 years ago. Last year, I think the Reds won the last tiebreaker with the Mets at 83.
Here's what's wild about the National League, David. You and I are big on run differential. It's a stat that we've looked at for many years as a guide to, is a team better or worse or about what their record should be? Well, let me just give you the National League run differential. The Dodgers lead it. They're one of the best teams, plus 120. Then the Braves at 103. Then the Brewers at 78. The next best team is the Pirates at plus 23. The Cubs are plus 19. The Diamondbacks are plus 14. If I've got this right, and I think I do, there's no one else with a positive run differential in the National League. The Padres are now -1. They've hit a little skid here. The Diamondbacks have caught the Padres.
But you're right. 6 teams in the National League with a positive run differential compared to just 4 in the American League. But also, so we think right now 83, 84 is your 6th seed. Well, your 6th seed right now in the American League, we believe, is 2 games below 500.
A game below. The Jays are the last wild card team. They're one game below.
All right. Meanwhile, the 6th seed in the National League right now, the Cubs, 5 over 500. And
You know,
there
and
are,
that means that they're a little past the third pole, but just multiply that to where it needs to be. That's 93 wins.
well, it's certainly, if you triple it out, it's at least 88, 89. At least.
But I do
And
think that a third team in the American League, or another team in the American League, will get there. That 6th seed remains to be seen. We'll switch gears. College football talk. Jim Dunaway next.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, Jim.
Hey, good morning, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Very good. Do you mind if while we wait until you're ready to go, I'll keep doing a little of my pre-show stuff?
No, do what you got to do, my man. We've got about 2.5 minutes.
No problem.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, man. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Hey, Forster, can you give me the studio lights real quick?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. I think he's enjoying our music. He's sitting in his chair. He's bobbing his head a little bit.
Look at that great hat.
Yeah. How about the Rays, man? That's my team. I'm a Tampa Bay guy.
Well, still a game and a half ahead of the Yankees. That's Jim Dunaway, co-host of Next Round Live. Follow him on X at Jim Dunaway, Dunaway. Get any grief wearing that hat in Braves country, or is all okay?
Yeah. I grew up in Birmingham, lifelong Alabamian, and for some reason, I did not become a Braves fan. My grandfather, who raised me, was from up north. He was a Yankees fan. I couldn't stand them. I liked everything in the South. And I became a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan when I was in elementary school, and the Buccaneers became a team. Hugh Culverhouse had University of Alabama ties. If I remember correctly, one of the final cities for the expansion, Tampa, Seattle, Birmingham was in the mix. Didn't get it, and I didn't like the Cowboys or Steelers. Every other kid in my class was a Braves fan and either a Cowboy or Steelers fan. So I adopted the Buccaneers. And so every time Tampa gets a team, that becomes my team. So I'm a Rays fan, Lightning fan, and a lifelong Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan.
Love it.
Yeah, me
Love
too.
it. Now, I will say that, you cover SEC football a lot in Alabama, but the Longhorns payroll very close to that of the Rays. I don't know who's had more success. Sark's made a lot of noise here. He's been very snarky for this offseason, makes for great fodder, makes for fun things to talk about. I have to give Texas Tech their props, though, for basically saying, we'll buy out our opponent, we'll buy out your opponent if you play us week one. Now, we all know that's not going to happen.
Why not? Let's do it.
Well, I think we'd love it. I don't think Sark would do it if his life depended on it, Jim.
It's such a Texas thing, though, right? I mean, Sark's now sitting at the bar, and Cody Campbell and Joey McGuire have walked in and they've knocked his hat off. I mean, Sark started this. Now you got to go out in the street. You got to walk off the paces and pull the trigger. You got to go if you're Sark at this point. You're right. I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, you're talking about this would be made for television. This is the kind of drama you need in week one. Week one doesn't have the overwhelming all the games we would love to have in week one like they have in some years past. I would love to see this. Boy, you know who else I think would love to see this, and we know how much power they have. How about ABC, ESPN? I mean, what a great way to have an opening weekend game. Now with Ohio State looming, you know you're going to get a lot of excuses and this and that, but I mean the money it can't be the money because there's Cody Campbell with his billion saying, "Man, we'll take care of that. Let's do it." I would love to see it.
Yeah, but can he really argue we've got Ohio State next week? Because isn't that for the ones? And he's only going to play the 2s and 3s, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. I mean, Sark has said a couple of things. I mean, I loved Pete Golding turning around the basket weaving thing because that, if you're my age, that's the old joke when you were growing up. They take basket weaving or something like that. And hats off to Matt Stahl, who works here locally, AL.com, who actually found a professional basket weaver and described how tough it is to be a basket weaver after all these years of joking. Sark, when he said that about Ole Miss and basket weaving, Pete Golding at the SEC meetings down in Destin did the absolutely perfect thing because you know what a lot of guys in the portal are not looking for these days? You never hear academics. So he was like, thank you, Sark. You're helping my recruiting by telling these great recruits they don't have to take biochemistry or anything like that. Come to Ole Miss, man. We'll do basket weaving and football, and that's what you're looking for. So everything Sark says right now gets spun around on him. I'd love to see this Texas Tech game.
Oh, man, it would be fantastic. I think the other, maybe, I don't know about big news, but the other interesting take from the meetings that just happened in the SEC is Kirby basically saying, you know what? If we're not going to get rules, we'll make our own and do our own thing. We don't think that's going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. But does that type of talk get us closer to actually ever establishing any rules for college football, Jim?
I think what that does, it reminds the ACCs, the Big 12s, and everybody else but the Big 10 that if there ever comes a day they want to do it, the SEC and the Big 10 can do this super league when it comes to football. And you guys can keep the teams that we don't select, and we'll still have an NCAA and an NCAA tournament. But when it comes to football, the SEC and the Big 10 can do their own things. They've got the power with the college football playoffs to do it that way. And truthfully, if I'm the ACC, I ask Petiti and Sankey before I make any news conference comments. I'm asking, if I'm the ACC commissioner, Jim Phillips, I'm saying, hey, what do you guys want me to say today? Because if we expand again in the SEC and they expand again in the Big 10, the teams they're looking at aren't in the Big 12. It's all the ACC teams. It's North Carolina, Duke. It's Miami. Probably not for financial reasons or TV windows, just for great football and athletics. It's Florida State. It's Clemson. You can go up the coast if you're a Big 10 person. You do a Syracuse. I mean, the ACC, other than Kansas basketball, there's not one thing. Cody Campbell's money may make it interesting. There's nothing in the Big 12 that if we go to super leagues that we're going to be fighting over. So I think when you rattle the sabers like Kirby Smart does and Greg Sankey does, and you talk about the SEC doing your own thing, you're just reminding people that we've got the bomb. We've got the nuclear weapons. And if we need to use them, we will use them if we have to. And I don't think it'll happen. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm a big fan. You know, I still miss the Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12 on the West Coast, not the new version that's coming back. I like smaller conferences. Those days are gone. But there is a scenario down the road. I think eventually we could just be an NFL, NFC, AFC, Big Ten, SEC type setup for football only. And you know, that probably would be the cleanest, smoothest way to have a fair schedule playoff situation. You could rotate it around with divisions like they do in the NFL. But I don't come to Saturdays in the fall for the NFL. Even though I'm a Buccaneers fan, we started with that. I am by far a college football, college basketball fan first before I get to anything professional. So I hope it doesn't happen ever.
Well, I think we all hope it doesn't happen. It's just we all know it's a TV show. And we all know it's about money, which, Jim, here's what we are curious about. Because of television contracts, the Big Ten doesn't become available till 2031 at the earliest. ESPN's got the SEC nailed down into the mid 2030s. I'm just thinking from a contract standpoint, how are the SEC and the Big Ten going to break away, even if they are fed up with everybody else? Number one, is Sankey really, really willing to go 5, 6 more years with only a 12-team playoff? Because Petitti's pretty dug in. He thinks he's got Sankey. Sankey believes just the opposite. And I will say, Jim, that the one thing that Jim Phillips has said publicly, the ACC commissioner, is ESPN's hell bent on no more than 16. So when you guys ask me, how many are we in favor of? Doesn't matter what my coaches say. My exclusive media outlet says 12 to 16.
And there's a reason why for that, right? I think it was Stuart Mandel who I saw these numbers first, and then I've double checked them myself, going back and looking at some those TV ratings that come out at the end of the week. That I think the number is you see the top 100 watched things on television. It's all NFL, but when you go to college football, the SEC dominates that in the regular season. The SEC had, I think it was 10, 11 games that were over 10 million viewers. And the Fox broadcast had only 3. And then when you go over 5 million viewers, there's another truckload full of SEC broadcast, ABC, ESPN broadcast games over 5 million. And there was only just 1 or 2 for Fox. So the Fox regular season package, I mean, look at what Fox is having to broadcast on their main window the first 3 weeks of the season. The regular season package that Fox has bought, that CBS has bought, that NBC has bought with the Big Ten is a disaster right now by any stretch of the imagination compared to what you get week in and week out in the SEC. And that's just not forget the growing parity in the Big Ten. The Big Ten's getting better because of the portal and the NIL. The football is getting better. Their middle is better than it's ever been. But when you go into the venues and the stadium and the history and all of that makes for good television, the SEC product right now is light years ahead. So yes, I think Greg Sankey still has more power than Tony Petitti, despite the national championships. I think he's very comfortable at 12 because the SEC got 5 in last year. Do they want to go to 16? Yes. They wanted to go to 16 because when Texas and Oklahoma were coming, they needed more playoff spots. When you go to 9 SEC games, you need more playoff spots, but they're very comfortable at 12. You don't want to go to 24 in their opinion because you damage your regular season product, which is very, very profitable for them. I think 16 is a perfect number. It's no different than 12 on the calendar. 16 allows you to play at home. Everybody, no buys. You got teams that have earned buys that are now complaining that we've got too much time off. So that doesn't happen in the NFL. You want that bye to rest up. In the college football, because of the calendar the way it is, you don't really want the bye because now you're rusty by the time you play your next game. And somebody else has played a game, they're more dialed in. Other than Indiana, the bye teams have not won. I think 16 is a perfect number. I think the Big Ten will eventually come around to that. We never stop, though. One day we'll have so many more baseball and NFL teams in, it'll be watered down. And eventually we'll get to 24 and probably 32 someday, but hopefully not in my lifetime. I hope 16 is where we stop. I'm okay with 12. One thing Sark said at the SEC meetings, he was like, let's go back to 4, the playoffs, and then you do your own tournament in conference to send your representative to the college football playoffs. That would be fine with me too. It basically is a souped up 16 team bracket that eventually gets you to 4. You just take care of your bid in your own league before you get there. A lot of ways to do it. 12 is a good number. I'd like to see how 12 works though for a while. We've only had 2 years of it, and the first year we didn't have the rankings, the ratings dialed in right. You were a mandatory conference champion to get the buys. We worked that out last year. I thought last year's tournament was set up pretty good. I'd like to see how 12 plays out for another year or two. So I'd be okay with 12. 16, I think, is the perfect number.
We talked a little bit about the Super League and, what SEC teams would want freewheeling spending and what would actually want a cap. I'm curious, when you look at your backyard, Alabama and Auburn, we know publicly they'll say no cap, no cap. Do they have the money at both schools to keep up with the Texases or the Texas A&Ms and, the Ohio States as we get, across the country? Or do they really need it reined in more than maybe other schools do?
The quick answer is no, they do not have the same type of money. I would say this, that they are able right now, if they need the money, to get the money. But that makes, a very fatigued group of boosters. They don't have as many as Texas and Ohio State and some of those schools do. Indiana, for example. So yes, for Alabama, Auburn, and most of the SEC, I would say you would love some kind of structure that would limit the ability to build rosters financially. The way it always was, when you could bank on facilities, the boosters were fine on building a great stadium. If you've ever been to Bryant-Denny Stadium, it fits perfectly. They've expanded over the years. There's nothing that's jagged and looks out of place. They're beautiful suites. It's a beautiful stadium. The campus, the town looks beautiful now. The practice facilities have long been the best or some of the best in the country. I can't tell you how many times they've redone the weight room in Nick Saban's 17 years when he was there. Training rooms. They got a whole sports medical facility that's the size of most people's football complex there, with state-of-the-art innovation. They have no problem spending money and raising money, but the group of boosters is smaller, and there's a lot of fatigue when it comes to buying rosters right now, paying players in the NIL world. They would love structure, and I think that would happen. I think in the booster scheme of things, Alabama falls in the 7 to 11 range in the SEC. Auburn probably falls in the 6 to 10 range. And that puts you middling when it comes to the ability to spend money long term if it stays this way.
Hey, Jim, thanks for doing this. When we catch up before the season starts, we'll see how close the Rays and Yankees still are together. Jim Dunaway, co-host of Next Round Live. Follow him on X at Jim Dunaway, Dunaway. Jim, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Jim Dunaway on Miller and Moulton, talking big picture college football scenarios, the Pro Hour. That comes next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
No! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Nope. Still no charges have been filed.
Well, if he's going to get off with no charges, this afternoon's the best time. Out with the trash, Friday afternoon.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Pro Hour, the bonus hour, the final hour of Miller and Moulton for the day and for the week. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark, obviously, we don't know anything that's going to happen. We have our opinions if certain things happen, what will then follow. But earlier this week, a big story was Josh Jacobs facing a felony and 4 misdemeanor charges in Wisconsin for alleged violence against his girlfriend. So someone in the chat room during the break just said, hey, any new news on Josh Jacobs? Mark, I don't know if you agree, but my thought is if they're going to drop everything, they're going to drop it this afternoon.
I mean, that's always been the old adage. Take the bad news out with the trash on Friday. It's everybody's looking forward to the weekend. We don't watch the news and don't watch television as much on Friday and Saturday as we do during the week and certainly on Sunday. So, I mean, that would be very NFL to do that today if it were to get done. I mean, the NFL would be all for this being swept under the rug on a Friday afternoon. And I think there's more, there's obviously more to it than that. But with many of these cases, as we've pointed out over the years, if his significant other isn't willing to press charges, there's not a lot that county is going to be able to do. And many times, because of the amount of money that the player makes versus the girlfriend and or wife, that they don't want to bring up charges. So, his attorneys have said from the get-go, there's a lot of evidence that's not there yet. We'll see how it all plays out.
But I would expect if anything's going to play out, also not a lot of courthouses and not a lot of law practices that are open on the weekends. So I would think, it's 4:00 today, or it's going to be a few days.
Well, and that's the other thing. The longer it takes, the out of sight, out of mind theory becomes part of this. So, I have no information. I have no new information. I've not seen anything.
Nope.
I actually listened to a little NFL radio yesterday, and the one show, and it wasn't Pat's show, the one show's take was, well, Green Bay right now is just scouting every June 1 cut and seeing what free agents are still out there at running back if they actually believe that he's going to get charged. But that's just factual. If you're an NFL team, you have to do your due diligence for worst case scenario on this. It doesn't mean that worst case scenario is going to happen. But I want to go back to college football, if we may, for a moment.
Sure.
Because we talked a lot of money towards the end of that, and for a good deal of it with television contracts. And, I did want his take on Alabama and Auburn from a spending standpoint, because I have said that they don't have the money of other schools. And a lot of you on the text line and in the chat room have taken me on, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, he kind of backed up what I had said. I don't care about that. But let's just tell you how much money's out there. Because news came out today, and I'm guessing it was always there. You just had to add the numbers together. But do you have any idea what the Gators are paying their assistants this year, David?
Football?
Football assistant. Take John Summerall's salary out of the equation, which I think is like 6, if I'm not mistaken. But just take that out. What are the assistants getting?
Well, first off, can I ask a question?
Sure, you could. Yes.
How many assistants are we talking? Because some staffs are significantly bigger than others.
David, I don't have a number, but I do know that there are some records being set in the Gator football department with salary of assistant coaches. The combined number is bigger than anything they've ever spent before. I wouldn't have asked the question otherwise. But for instance, the offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, who they got from Georgia Tech, is the first $2 million assistant coach in the history of the Gators. He signed a 3-year, $6.6 million contract to leave Georgia Tech and join Summerall in Gainesville. 2.1 this year, the first $2 million coordinator in school history. He gets a $100,000 raise for each of the next 2 years. So 2-1, 2-2, 2-3. That's your 6-6. Thanks for coming. But the combined number, David, I'll just give it to you instead of playing Price is Right, which, by the way, I hope you enjoyed the video I sent you of an old Price is Right, in which the contestant, after winning the showcase, passed out on stage. And while they attended to her, they ran the credits.
Correct. I love the fact they didn't take the camera off her.
They never took the camera off her.
Unbelievable.
The Barker Beauties came out. Someone else came out from backstage. Bob said she's fine. It was so old that Johnny Olson was still the announcer for the show. And at the end, because obviously those shows are taped, he makes the announcement that she was fine. But the number for the combined assistants, David, are $11.2 million. That's for the assistants. So I think he's getting around 6, I think, David, and I didn't look it up, but that's 17. If it's 6, that's over 17 million for the coaching staff. Now, the football team, I believe, is spending in the 30s because they weren't one of the teams in the 40s when I looked it up, but I know they were a top 10 spender in total team salary next year. So that means, in the they're spending upwards of $50 million for coaches and players for one season. Well, I wasn't joking when I said to Jim Dunaway that the Longhorns might be spending more than the Rays. It's close. The Rays will get them.
Well, Mark, you're not even adding on all the coaching revenue that they still have to pay off for another year or two, because it adds up.
Right. Absolutely. You're right. You've still got buyouts.
Yeah, Sunbelt Billy's getting paid. Okay, and I believe his 2 coordinators are still getting paid. I mean, that's close to $10 million this year just for those 3.
So, yes, there's 6 offensive coordinators were paid $2 million or more last year, according to CBS Sports. 15 DCs last year made more than $2 million. Okay, and I was wrong. Summerall's not making 6. He's making almost 7.5. So they're at nearly $19 million just for the current coaches. 4 assistants are getting at least $1 million. I mean, there's no money in this sport. None whatsoever.
Well, and if it's 19 for the current football staff, I would say for this season, for paying off guys they got rid of, I'll bet you the number's close to 30.
Right. And David, this is the one thing that I wish someone would say out loud. And if I were at the SEC meetings and one of those coaches started talking about a salary cap, I'd put my hand up and I'd say, Coach, I'm all for it. I think we've got to rein this in a little bit. Would you also agree that there should be a cap on what coaches and coaching staffs can make? I'll hang up and listen. Because while all the coaches want to control the cost of the players, they all get up and leave for a better job. And it is the one thing that bipartisan bill that Ted Cruz is a part of has, that you can't leave mid-season for another job. You can still leave after the season, though. I mean, don't kid yourself. So while I'm all for some sort of cap for the players, I'd like to see a coach say, I'm not only for a cap for players, but I think we're making a little bit too much money. This is getting ridiculous. It'll never happen. Ever.
You mean there's a hypocrisy?
In college sports? No, I'm not even suggesting that.
Good. I hope not.
But it is something.
It's why, at what point is somebody willing to do something to end this madness? I mean, think about that. For Florida football coaches this year, past and present, it's $30 million to the University of Florida. And everybody's okay with this? Hey, it ain't my money. I got one kid. She already got her doctorate. Okay? She didn't go to Florida. Okay? They didn't get a dime from me. I mean, I've sent them some money over the years to support certain things, but, we ain't talking about me or Miller. You guys are all okay with this? You don't want to rein it in at all? Then shut up about all of it. Don't complain about any of it.
Miller and Moulton, just, trying to get another sponsor. We don't even need an NIL deal. Just a sponsor would be nice. It's the Pro Hour in Tampa and Jacksonville on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239 566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
"21 minutes past the hour." Mark, I didn't know what else you wanted to get to, and I'll let you get to it after I just throw out this question. We've spent a little bit of time talking about money in sports. We do that more than most shows because we came to the conclusion many, many years ago that it's all about money and it's a TV show, and they usually go hand in hand.
And the money came from David and I loving. We do have an affinity for politics. We don't talk it on the show. When we're both in the same studio, we did a lot of between segment commercial breaks discussing politics. We don't do that anymore because we're on Twitch and YouTube, and you guys don't care or shouldn't care what our political opinions are, and we don't care to share them with you. But one of our favorite movies collectively is All the President's Men. And the line in that movie is, follow the money. And we've done that since we joined forces nearly 20 years ago. That's why it's important to us, whether it's baseball, the NFL, hockey, college sports. That's I think where it stems from. They were right then, that line's right now.
And we were just talking about a topic which many of you are either bored by now or just accepting of this is the way it is. I don't like it, but I'm just going to accept it. But some of you still get really fired up over all the money that's in present day college sports. And we were just talking about how much Florida's spending on their football coaching staff in 2026. You combine the amount of money they're spending on the group that they let go, and we're probably talking a cool 30.
And the roster's another 30. I looked it up during the break. So there's 60 million in this year for players and coaches on the football team.
Okay. And here's what I'm curious about. To all of you as fans, what bothers you more? That your school finds the money to go down the route that Florida just went down? Did they have the money? None of them have the money, but they can find it if they want it, right? But then you've got the schools, and there aren't many of them, but you actually do have the schools that raise their hand and go, yeah, I can't afford the buyout. Can't afford it. So we ain't going to do the buyout this year. And I'll be brutally honest with you. I don't think we'll be able to afford it for 2 years. And you know what school I'm talking about here, don't you? If we were talking about the Gators on the one hand, what school are we talking about on the other?
Yep.
Right. And I'm just curious, what's worse? Hemorrhaging the money that you have hemorrhaged a couple times now, if you're Florida. And you're willing to hemorrhage it again because, well, you haven't gotten it right. And nothing else means anything if we can't get this right. So do we have the money? Not really, but I'm going to get it. Don't you worry. Whatever it is, you just negotiate the deals. The money will be there. Trust me, it'll be there. Don't ask me again, but just trust the money will be there. And when it's not, I'll call you and say I need more time. Got it? But for as bad as it's been in Florida, how many Power 4 schools out loud say Can't afford it. Make the best of the situation we have. At least another year, probably 2. Can't afford it.
And now it's a 3-year cycle. I mean, you get 3 years. You used to get 5 or 6. You used to get an entire run of your recruiting class, and they figured the first 2 years weren't yours. They were the other coaches. But now with the portal, that's not the case. You basically have 3 years. And yes, we talked about Florida a lot that segment. It's a brand new coach. It's a brand new staff. There are no guarantees that this works. None. This is the SEC after all. You can be pretty damn good and finish 6th in the conference. I mean, there's nothing to say that Florida this year is better than Georgia, better than Texas, better than Alabama, better than LSU. I mean, come on. Right now, they're behind all 4 of those teams. That doesn't even get me to A&M or anybody else that might have a good year.
Or Tennessee.
Or Ole Miss. Right.
Right. Haven't even mentioned Oklahoma once again. It is funny. Oklahoma's a lot better off being in the SEC. But boy, when they were not in the SEC, they got mentioned all the time.
For national championships.
And now when you say, hey, are they even going to make the playoff? You're like, I don't know.
It's funny, too. They did make the playoff last year.
Yeah.
And you know who didn't? Texas. I just saying. So it is, but it's fascinating. The only questions I had for you, the only thing I was going to bring up, David, is I need to get some answers out of you. I know that I didn't. I let myself down because I had my burger on Monday or on Wednesday. Yesterday was National Hamburger Day. Did you eat hamburgers yesterday?
I did.
How many meals did you have hamburgers for?
Just one.
Okay, well, that's a fair question.
Just one. And I just had one hamburger also. Just very modest by my standards.
Drive-through?
Been a modest eater lately.
That's good. Nothing wrong with a little modesty when it comes to the way you and I used to eat. And I'm still eating that way. But, you know, today's National Biscuit Day. You know, you won't have time because they'll be past breakfast at all the places that you can pick up a drive-through after the show. You'd have to sit down and get a biscuit. And I know that's probably not going to happen.
It's the right place, though. Biscuits and gravy. If I know I'm getting a fresh batch of biscuits,
So National Biscuit Day, I have tried to rename the starting 5 as to the biscuits and gravy in sports. There's so much on the plate that you need a biscuit to sop it up. That's how we start nearly every show. In the first hour, if you missed that hour or any hour, it's our sports page. You can get it at millerandmoulton.com or anywhere that you download our shows. Good talk in the 8 o'clock hour today. A lot of baseball today. Should make David happy heading into the weekend. We have talked a great deal of baseball, some on the field stuff, some off the field stuff. But I will say the one thing really on the field, and Jim Dunaway was wearing the Rays cap today. That's 4 in a row, man. They gotta right this ship because I'm convinced that this roster is a team that could lose 8 of 12 just as easily as they've won 8 of 12.
Agreed. Even when they were putting that great streak together, they were winning a lot of low-scoring games, so the run differential wasn't that great. And, you could see this team getting offensively challenged from time to time, and all of a sudden they start losing the 4-2 games. Yeah, absolutely. Bullpen's already overworked? Sure.
So I think, I don't want to say a crucial time, but I've kind of gone with the complex that a 2-week stretch for any team can be big. Next 2 weeks, kind of big for the Rays. Today was a day when the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what's on tap? We'll finish the week out with it next.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton. It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite.
You got to get a little higher to get in the shot, Cat. I'm herding cats. Best line I've heard this week. Puck, that I got to be honest. Bo Nix's numbers are really good. I mean, they lost the AFC Championship because Bo Nix got hurt, not because he lost the game for him. I mean, I like picking on Ambien as much as the next guy, but if Arch is the next Bo Nix, they're okay with that. I mean, that doesn't mean he's not going to the Hall of Fame, but what's Arch done so far to make you think he's going to be good, period? I mean, Bo Nix's college career was 10 times better than what Arch's has been. And I think I'm being mild. It could be like 20, 30, 100 times better. And you saw him play at Auburn, right? Okay, I mean, he did go get better than that. He had better coaching after that. I mean, he's 24-10 as a starter in 2 years. 24-10. I mean, completion percentage at 65%. That's pretty solid. 54 TDs to 23 picks. That's pretty good. I mean, okay. I just don't. Again, I'm not putting him in the Hall of Fame, Puck, but you're treating him like he's hot garbage. I mean, Arch Manning hasn't done squat. So before you start comparing him to a guy that got to the AFC Championship, how about let's see him take a team to the playoff in college football? He's not at his Puck. You're wrong. He's not. In year 2, he is not at his peak. Could his numbers go down next year? Maybe a little, but he's not had anybody. I mean, look, I don't need to sit here and defend, but he had nobody to throw to. Terrible receivers. Not terrible. Average receivers. Would you say the receivers are better this year than they were last year? Because I would. Another year with that coach? I think that's a lazy comparison, Puck.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Along with some final thoughts, a pick or two. We will know what the finals are when we're on the air again. We'll certainly know in basketball. I believe we'll know in hockey.
Yeah, I think it's done tonight. And then we're, I don't know when we're going to start, but we've already got the NBA dates, right? Do we have the NHL dates for the Stanley Cup? Have they given them? I hope not. Because so many times, David, they put these dates out based on series going 7. And I don't think, I hate that. I'd like them to wait for this thing to end. But I know TV networks want to know what dates are. I'm sure if it's not out, it's been set in stone, or there's a couple of scenarios based on what happens tonight.
Okay. The NBA is already set. The NBA is 2-2-1-1-1. They've gone back and forth a few times over the last 40 years. It's now 2-2-1-1-1. And the NBA finals start Wednesday the 3rd. I believe, Mark, that it's Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
For the basketball, yeah, there's 2 scenarios for hockey that are out there, depending on what happens in the Eastern Conference Final. They're either going to begin on Tuesday, June 2nd. If it ends in 5, if it goes 6 or 7, it would start on Thursday, June 4th.
So it turns out it's going to be, now this part I don't like. They did it last weekend too. There will be no NBA next weekend. Either day. Games in Oklahoma City or San Antonio will be Wednesday, Friday. Games in New York will be Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah, I'd love a Sunday night game. I'm with you. I would like that a lot, but.
And then it will be Game 5 would be Saturday. Game 6 would be Tuesday the 16th. And if the NBA Finals goes 7, it will be Friday, June 19th. So you get more rest as you go in the NBA Finals.
And then as far as the NHL, as far as rest goes, it's similar. I mean, they're going Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday. And then there's a big break between whether it's game 6 and 7 would go Sunday, Wednesday, or game 5 and 6, Sunday, Wednesday, and then all the way to Saturday for game 7. And that just depends on how the Eastern Conference Finals play out.
And remember, the same network has both finals.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1453, only because it put a song in my head. Constantinople falls. The capital of the Eastern Roman Empire falls to the Ottoman Turks today in 1453. That I just do. Istanbul is not Constantinople. If you know the song, you're with me. 1765, Patrick Henry's historic speech against the Stamp Act, answering a cry of treason with, "If this be treason, make the most of it." There you go. 1787, the Virginia Plan by James Madison, proposed to the Constitutional Convention, advocating for a national government with 3 branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. Happy birthday, Wisconsin. 1848, they became number 30. John Pemberton today began advertising his patented medicine, 1886. That medicine, of course, was Coca-Cola. Big day for toast today, David. Charles Strite in 1919 files a patent for the first automatic pop-up toaster. Even though the toaster oven is better, where would we be without the automatic toaster? I mean, you got that toaster oven, you can leave the room and all of a sudden you've burnt your English muffin. 1942, Bing Crosby records White Christmas. Did it in 18 minutes. It becomes the world's best-selling single with an estimated 100 copies sold. Today in 1953, Edmund Hillary becomes the first to reach the summit of Mount Everest. 1969, Atlantic Records releases the debut of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Marrakesh Express and Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, 2 of the big hits on it. Larry Bird beats Magic for the Rookie of the Year today in 1980. Tina Turner releases her big comeback album, Private Dancer, today in 84. And today in 1990, in Russia, Yeltsin elected president. And in Oakland, Rickey Henderson steals his 893rd base, breaking Ty Cobb's record. I am the greatest of all time.
Thank you.
Patrick Henry, Bob Hope, JFK, Faye Vincent, and racer Al Unser would have all celebrated birthdays today. Actress Annette Bening is 68. Singer Melissa Etheridge, 65. Eric Davis, 63. One of the prettiest swings ever, David. It's a gorgeous baseball swing. Noel Gallagher from Oasis is 59. Carmelo Anthony, 42. Laker Austin Reeves is 28. And fresh out of rehab, Puka Nacua is 25 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Melo's only 42?
Yeah.
Really?
Born in 1984. That would be 42.
I know. I'm just...
think I did the math right. Now you make me nervous.
I know. I'm just saying that with the way the game is, I mean, he couldn't stand in the short corner for 3, 4 minute stretches a night. I mean, doesn't have to play defense. He didn't play much defense when he played. Huh. Just a thought.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to the Netherlands, not because weed and hookers are legal, but because they've figured out a way to try to feed some folks. And they're doing it by picking up butts. Cigarette butts, that is. Apparently, cigarette butts, and I guess not apparently, it makes sense, they're the most common form of plastic waste in the world. More than 4.5 tons of cigarette butts are produced every year. In the Netherlands, the estimated figure is in the hundreds of millions. So they are now, there's a company accepting them as payment for a plate of pancakes. The Waste Bar yellow truck is adorned with catchy slogans such as "Don't waste waste" or "Pay here with litter." Butts or bucks. I like it. I will say, there are far fewer people smoking than ever before. I was getting used to my walks on South Florida's campus. And there was one spot where apparently that's where the smokers hung out. Because every day towards the end of my walk, I'm like, yeah, there they are. There's the 3 or 4 cigarette butts. Where normally in front of a building, you'd see, hell, David, the last building we worked at, you walked out back and there was hundreds.
Yes.
It was disgusting.
Yes.
For the bad, we go to Franklin, Tennessee, where last week, both Centennial and Franklin High School had graduating classes. The graduates were outdoors. It was a torrential downpour, but that didn't stop either school from canceling the graduations. As soon as they started speaking, it started pouring, said a parent of one of the grads. Many students faced the elements and said spirits stayed high while they received their diplomas in the rain. Parents more upset about having to retake pictures at a later date. Finally, the ugly, we go to Manchester, New Hampshire, where a man is facing charges after telling police that someone stole his car and crashed it. Turns out he was the person who crashed the car. Police figured out that the caller was the driver and fled on foot. They released a canine and took down 23-year-old Sean McComsky, who was arrested and was out on bail for a previous crime that he had committed. Enjoy 3 hots and a cot. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, May the 29th, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, offering great pay, offering benefits, bonuses, and overtime opportunities. For more information, capecops.com, capecops.com.
So I mentioned this person. I should have mentioned it at the end of the last little grouping that you did, because Danica led the Indy 500 today in 2005 for the first time. And I'm talking about less than 10 laps to go. I mean, Danica was in the lead, but Danica didn't have the fuel mileage to go the distance full bore. So she was trying to ham and egg her way, and Dan Weldon was like, no, I got the gas to go the distance full bore. And he caught her and passed her and won. And Danica finished 4th. And it's funny, she never got any credit for it. But anyway.
Well, she got credit for winning on fuel mileage. I don't know if she deserves credit for losing because of fuel mileage.
Well, but still, I mean, for people who didn't think she belonged in the race, I don't know, leading with 10 laps to go at a top 5 finish seems like she belonged in the race. But anyway, I mentioned Danica more for this. Mark, I know you don't pay attention to the Indy 500 and really just about anything having to do with it. But did you see the brouhaha that people were making out of what Danica wore?
No.
Oh my goodness. It's what a lot of I felt badly for the Indy 500. Arguably the greatest race in their history. Certainly could argue the greatest finish in their history. And a lot of people, all they wanted to talk about on social media was, oh, Danica was dressed up for the race, all right. Probably a little too dressed up. She wore a dress in which you could see a lot of skin.
A little cold
know?
shoulder action, a little red cold shoulder action.
And mid chest, and, but her chest was covered. But there were a lot of people bent out of shape for what she's wearing to do the Indy 500.
I mean, looking at the outfit, David, looks more like it would be something worn for the Hall of Fame ceremony than for that, but whatever.
I agree. I think it's something you wear to go out after the race in. But, anyway, just wanted to make sure we got both in.
Braves and Reds start a series tonight. That's a pretty good one. The Rays hosting the Angels. So if there's a team to get off the schneid with, I would think it's the Angels.
Although
White
they
Sox
won
trying to
57.
continue their great play as they play a lousy team. They have Detroit in town.
There you have it. Hockey tonight. The East should end. If Carolina wins, it's Carolina and Vegas on Tuesday in Carolina. Tomorrow night, Oklahoma City, San Antonio. Winner hosts the Knicks. Wednesday night, game one of the finals. Very quickly. Let's give Carolina the win tonight. Carolina, Vegas, Knicks. Pick your team.
I'll
Which
pick
series?
Oklahoma City to win Game 7, and I'll pick them to win the series against the Knicks.
I was going to ask, which series do you have more interest in? Vegas, Carolina, OKC, and the Knicks.
I always have more interest in the Stanley Cup, but if you give me either way, the NBA Finals have me interested.
I'm interested in the fact that OKC's only a 3.5-point favorite tomorrow night at home. The closest they've been a favorite in this series, 7.5.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. And your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
No! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.